for two of us who are in advertising and marketing, this was the time of year that we used to really pull out all the guns.
Oh my goodness!
But hey, as I said at the opening of the show, and I'm not going to flinch from this one, does it really matter anymore? You know, all the ads were released. 100% of them was released before the.
Pretty much most. I would guess most of them, right? And
Right,
which has ruined the whole.
Tune in for the surprise,
Yeah.
right? And now that the game was close and that it was well played and that it was a surprise from a sports perspective, that's fantastic. That's what you want. But from the advertising thing, tell me anybody got their money's worth.
No.
You know, and it was all this. So I jotted down a couple things.
Well, they spent 435. So there were 60. How many commercials were there? 60.
And it was split between movie trailers
62
and
commercials. $435 million
$1 million.
spent.
And so you could go on YouTube, for example, and somebody will stitch together all the movie trailers that came out, and then they'll stitch together all the ads. But I found Bob and I were watching YouTube, and we found this show, and it was, what did the millennials think of the Super Bowl advertising? And they had a bunch of younger people critiquing the ads, and it was utterly hilarious. For example, did you remember the ad for Sabra hummus by any chance?
Yeah.
It was very colorful. I didn't know who the people were.
No. Well, there was a Real Housewife of Jersey.
Influencers. They were all YouTube influencers.
Was that what it was?
Yes. And so they had this young woman watching the commercial, and as she's watching it, she goes, oh. She goes, oh, because I'm young and I watch YouTube, I'm supposed to know who these people are. And she goes, and I guess that makes me want to buy Sabra hummus. So we laugh. We're like, she saw right through it. She saw how crass it was,
I
right?
thought that commercial was a mess.
I didn't like it.
It was
no.
a horrible commercial.
So Sabra hummus appealed to they thought, hey, we're hummus, right? It's a product that could be, I guess, pitched by anybody, frankly. Then there was this Mountain Dew ad with Bryan Cranston who breaks down the door, and he's like, "Hi, Mountain Dew Zero," and she goes, "Oh, I'm thirsty." Retro throwback to The Shining.
Yep.
And I love The Shining, and I think it's a great movie, and I love Jack Nicklaus in that movie. But
It's 1980.
the movie is about 25 or 30 years old at this point. So here's a cultural reference again. And then I'm just going to tie on to that, the Jeep Groundhog.
Day.
The
It
millennial.
was rated the #1 commercial.
Yeah. So the Groundhog, the Jeep thing, the millennials that were watching that, they said to a T, it was male or female, what an ugly car. But hey, it's great to see Bill Murray on the ad. So now you tell me that $1 million or $2 million or $3 million that you spent to have Bill Murray do his first broadcast commercial. Did you know about that?
I didn't realize it was his first broadcast commercial.
Yeah, first broadcast. I think that it was.
It was for the Jeep Gladiator pickup. Yeah, I kind of like the looks of it.
Oh, these people. I
didn't like it.
I didn't mind the car, but they did not like the car. No.
That was rated the #1 ad.
Yep, and then there was Little Nas and the Doritos thing with was it Sam Elliott? They were,
Was that Cool Ranch?
Yeah, the Cool Ranch Doritos. Now, Little Nas is gay.
Well, there were 11 LGBTQ ads or themed ads.
So
according to Glenn.
I would not rank that as an LGBTQ ad. It happens that the rapper is gay, but there was nothing gay about the ad. It was just a funny ad. But yeah, you're right. Someone was quoted as saying it was the gayest Super Bowl or whatever.
Which our friend Todd Evans, who was on it was on in December, and when we did our Vibe Spray piece, he just did a blog post about the Super Bowl and the questions about it, and he brought up a point which I thought was interesting, similar to when we always say brands come in June
and they leave,
do gay pride and they leave. He said he felt this was also a little bit of the same thing of let's throw our token LGBTQ person in the ad. I'm done for the year. And it will probably never be seen again. It'll be seen maybe on social media, but you're not going to run it again. And I thought that was a good point. If you're going to make the investment, then run the ad beyond just the Super Bowl or include people in the ads. And his point was you should be doing it all year long then, not just that Super Bowl, similar to Pride.
And then a lot of this creative was so tailored for the day that I'm not sure how you would get use of it. An exception would be there was a funny ad for Hyundai, and it was a self-parking car.
Right, which was the #2 ad, Smart Park.
Smart Park.
Yeah.
Funny, well cast. I mean, mega dollars.
Simple.
Clean. It was one trait. They're selling what? That was always your rule of thumb in advertising from auto. What
One
are
thing.
you selling? And it wasn't all-wheel drive. It was car can park itself.
Which is why the Force worked so well when VW did it for the Passat a few years ago.
Yep.
It was the auto
Key.
beep, beep.
Auto start.
Right, auto start. So the top 5 were Groundhog Day, which you mentioned, Smart Pock, Loretta from Google. That was I don't know if you remember that ad. Doritos Cool Ranch you mentioned. And this one I don't remember, Rocket Mortgage. And then the 5, this is according to USA Today, the 5 worst ads were Squarespace, another flashback to Fargo, Winona and Winona.
Yep.
Minnesota thing. Quibi, Bank Heist. What is Quibi? It's some new social app or something.
And you saw the ad, right?
And then this is funny. Bloomberg's 2020 campaign, George. Pop-Tarts, I don't remember seeing that one. The worst ad of all, according to the USA tracking, was the Trump 2020 campaign ad. Scored the lowest.
Well,
3 out of 10. But we had said that we had talked on our podcast TFG Unbuttoned about the Super Bowl too a little bit and gave our thoughts and you had summed it up perfectly in that you don't need to watch the game anymore, and that kind of takes away from the whole aspect of this kind of America's Last Great Campfire. You might not like football or you're not a huge football fan, but you're going to tune in, and we all would have tuned in, and now you don't have to. And it's the same with Academy Awards or anything else. Now you can just go, give me the 3-second version that I can just click, and
what is now I'm probably going to get dinged for this one, but there is an expression we used to use where you shot the pup, or what was the meaning you killed the horse that brought you to the show, and they did that with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They've now so thoroughly
don't forget the girl that brought you to the dance.
Let's surprise was the whole element. Long ago, before we had social media, last century,
you wouldn't know you wouldn't even know who's advertising.
You would gather excitedly at a friend's house, and the joke was, "Are you going to watch the Super Bowl?" Yeah, I don't care about the game, but I love watching the advertising. And they've taken that and they have totally just wrung every last drop out of it. And now it's just, I think it's nothing. And the fact that I could watch a movie and not even care that the game was on, knowing that any time I could go to YouTube and just see what I wanted to see.
Or Adweek had them all together, or Ad Age had them all together.
Perfectly
you could just
clustered.
Watch
You
them all
click them
together.
through, yeah.
I did laugh because when you do think about how long the game is, with 62 commercials, most of them are a minute, so it's an hour
of commercial time.
Commercials.
Yeah.
I did. I was trying to think if I had a favorite one. I missed the Clydesdales. I said that before.
Well, actually, that's funny. You said that on Unbuttoned as well, and the absence was noted, right? Yeah.
And just some of the other fun bits. But I do think Hyundai did a great job with theirs. I'm not a huge fan of the brand, but I do think that they did a great job with the advertising there.
I actually put that as one of my favorites. If I had to choose 3, that was one of them, and it was because of the simplicity of the story, right?
Didn't need all explosive.
By the way, that baby Mr. Peanut.
Well, that was stupid. Why do you kill off? It's like killing off Captain Crunch.
Well, and then this guy. Remember, I said it earlier that I was watching this YouTube. Millennials reacting to Super Bowl ads. So one guy's watching. He has headphones on. He's watching on an iPad or something, and he's watching the Mr. Peanut. He goes, "Oh, I get it. Baby Yoda's really big, so let's do a baby Mr. Peanut." And so to anybody who's in this industry, that consumer automatically is not buying your product.
Right.
They've already disassembled the ad. They already realized that you're pushing buttons to make them interested in something that they may or may not be interested in. I mean, I just astounded. All right, let's go back for a minute to one thing you said. 62 commercials.
Yep.
And we said was a little over an hour of commercial airtime. Here's the rule of thumb that Tim taught me. If you spend $1 million on a minute or a 30-second spot, you will probably spend 1.5 to make the ad, right?
Right.
So $430 million was, spent.
Well, it's times 3 to activate it.
So 60 minutes of commercials.
So 1.2 billion.
And all production and everything, right? So I can see why they're anxious to throw it on social media and get traction and get more out of it. But
no secret, Volkswagen was a partner of ours for many, many years. And they had probably the most viral and most popular
one
spot with the 4-speed
Darth
with
Vader,
the new age with the Passat. Didn't sell any cars.
Nope.
I mean, they
And-
sold some, but people aren't buying four-door sedans. So it was great. It was a viral spot. It got a lot of eyes on the brand. But, you know, at the
And
end
what
of the
did-
day,
Yeah, what did VW do the very next year? Let's go back to the well.
yeah.
And they recreated
Lightning strikes twice.
twice. And if you can't catch it in a bottle, you might as well try to make it strike twice. They recreated the Mos Eisley space bar scene. They had photos taken. It was down to the precise thing. It was approved by Lucas and Star Wars. The ad was,
Yeah.
and no, they weren't capturing lightning in a bottle. They were just like doing the same old tire. I don't know.
No, it's difficult. And what they always say in the ad industry is, oh my God, we've got a Super Bowl ad. And then it's like, oh my God, we've got a Super Bowl ad. Because the expectation is you're going to hit a home run every time. And
yeah.
everyone is going to be interested in what you have. And they all try to do the gimmick and make it viral. And I think most times, if anybody we've talked to over the years we've had on the show, anything that has gone viral or that has risen to the top,
Unforeseen. Yeah.
unplanned.
Yeah.
We had no idea. We liked the spot, but we had no idea it would be as accepted as it was. And that's the lesson, right? Is that if you make something you think is good and it reaches your target and you think it hits the audience, that's the best you can do. Whether it gets traction or not, who knows?
Do you happen to remember back in the .com boom? It was so big. People would be like, "Have a good day." .com.
It's like hashtag.
.com.
No, it's hashtag. The hashtag John. Hashtag Tim.
There was some strange. I think the company's still around. There was a company. Oh no, maybe they're not actually. Come to think of it, where their whole ad was a monkey that was dancing in a driveway. The dancing monkey ad. Do you remember this?
Oh, wasn't that?
Do you happen?
Wasn't GoDaddy? Was it?
Go for a long time. GoDaddy had the girls.
with the
It looked like a Victoria's Secret ad for GoDaddy, but
GoDaddy.
I forget
What's
what
the monkey ad?
The dancing monkey.
Squarespace or Square Peg or see, we don't even remember.
Well, there you go.
E-Trade.
Oh, wow, Garrett, thank you for doing that.
So easy, the monkey can do it, right? I think.
Yeah.
I think
that was the
E-Trade.
yeah.
Are they around anymore? E-Trade?
Yeah, E-Trade's around. Yeah, unless they were bought by
I don't think I've ever heard of them
E-Trade.
anymore.
Well, I don't think they've ever done Super Bowl again. But
No, but I mean, even as a company, does somebody buy them up?
I seem to. Hey, look, I want to say yes, they're around, or they were absorbed by someone, but that was the salad.
They're still
day.
around.
They are. Does it say if they're owned by anybody?
No, they're just E-Trade. They're
Just
Yeah.
E-Trade.
But those are the salad days. That's when people were spending $1 million on a dancing monkey in a driveway.
Yes.
Hey, but I guess we just talked about it, so.
There was also pets.com with the sock puppet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like 3 months later, they were out of business.
Yeah. Because they realize that in New York, when somebody buys 200 pounds of dog food and you got to carry it up 4 flights, probably going to lose a little money.
But the sock puppet is another great, thank you, Garrett. That's another great example of one of those things that, wow, and then poof, no more.
And there were guys that went to my little college, Marietta College. Doritos used to do create the Super Bowl ad.
Yeah, I thought they still did.
These guys are the ones who did the snow globe through the glass.
I love that.
They threw it through the glass. It cost them, I think, $6,000 to make the commercial or less. And it was a huge, remember what a huge, this is probably 10 years ago, but it was, I can get the Doritos, and then he throws it through the vending machine and busts the glass. But I like those sort of things.
Yeah,
If
I
you
do
could
too.
do them.
I do
We were going to try to make an ad, weren't we, once, the Doritos thing, but
There was actually a year that there was Doritos, and there was another brand that had a make your
Nabisco or
own. It
something?
might have been, I think it was a snack food, but I don't remember who it was now. We were like, hey, let's make an ad.
yeah, we didn't.
So there you go, Super Bowl. And here's the thing that to me says it all. In our culture of constant feed the machine of outrage and what's the next thing, it's already in the rearview mirror.